Welcome, everybody. Sons of Montezuma. We are back, and we are winners this weekend. The Aztecs, 34, Cal, nothing. Of course, you guys know it is Mateo. You can find me at Mateo San Diego on X, Twitter, all that good stuff. At Sons of Monty, all across the board as well. Kind of loud there, You guys can't stop them. Can't stop them. Can't stop the trash talk. You can only hope to contain the trash talk. Fiend, how are you doing? Victory Monday.
Oh, I'm fabulous. I am still glowing from that victory.
I got one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yeah.
How about them Aztecs?
Yeah.
I
love that. Yeah.
Coach Lewis was feeling himself after the game. I think he was feeling himself. I would be too.
Redemption, man.
Guys, thank you for joining the stream. Before you guys do anything, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Of course, you can follow us all over. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find us. Of course, Spotify is a big one, Apple, iHeart, or just be old school and go to sonsofmontezuma.com. Check out all of our articles, our online shop. Of course, the episodes, they're all brought to you by our online shop. It's where we make our creations, all the merch, hats. We even had a beer this past tailgate. Thank you for everybody for stopping by the tailgate. We released our official beer. We try to do one every single season, Fiend. This year was the Danger Zone. We'll have some more about that a little later. But it was a celebration. We weren't expecting a big victory like this, man. I mean, our talk last episode was, I don't want to say it was negative. I think we kind of had a week away from the Washington State game, regrouped ourselves, Fiend, and we weren't optimistic by any stretch of the imagination. Your score prediction was pretty optimistic. Mine was not. And boy, they proved us wrong, man. I love it. I wanted to be proven wrong. We all wanted to be proven wrong. And
yeah,
they sure did. They shocked, maybe not the world, college football world. They did. So, hey,
absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That was the biggest shocker of the weekend, I think, in all of college football. That woke a lot of people up. And, I thought maybe they could keep it close if they had played a good game plan, but stopping that quarterback the way that they did and shutting him out, I was not ready for that. I did not expect that. I don't know anyone who – there are people and give them their props who said, they came out and said that they were gonna win. And, got to give those, and I'll let you name those names.
Let's call them out. Yeah, let's call them out. Let's call them out. I mean, there were only – okay, let's be fair. There were three people. There were three people who told me specifically, we're winning this game. We're going to be victorious. That was Dirtball Dan. For those of you who know, the podcaster formerly known as Dirtball Dan. Big Dan the man.
The dirtiest of the Dans.
The dirtiest of the man. And Kai. Everybody knows Kai, SD super fan, Kai. And I mean, both of them were just absolutely, we're winning this game. But there was a third. I can't forget him. He's one of our writers, of course, Aztec fan royalty, and that's Ken Abels. Ken Abels told me, hey, Washington State, okay, I get it. Cal hasn't really beaten anybody. We win all the home games in this series. So he was picking Cal. But Cal's Ken, he's always picking the Aztecs to win. So okay. I gotta get a little asterisk right there. But he called it. All three of those guys called it.
Yeah, you got to give them props. I mean, all of them believed. I know Kai was a little pissed at people at the tailgate because they really weren't giving the Aztecs chances. He's like, we haven't even played yet. Like, how can you say that? And he was sure that we were going to win. And so he believes. So
he was giving me attitude,
guys. Was he?
He was giving me attitude at the tailgate. He was the only one giving me attitude at the tailgate. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by the tailgate, Fiend. I know we met a few different people at the game. I want to send a shout out to Joe Duffel, Brendan Russell, Adam Ogan, and of course the Anderson family. The Anderson family, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Absolutely made my game day. I know Fiend's feeling a little chilly right there. It's all good though. The Anderson family made my game day, Fiend. If we didn't win the game, I was okay. I was all right, So a big thank you guys to the Anderson family. But yeah, the vibes, everybody brought good vibes to the tailgate. The energy was there. We'll talk about the hard work and the marketing and the fan attendance and all that stuff in a few moments. But let's get into this, man. You said, Fiend, there were people out there in the media. And let's just get into it.
Team that you have to stay up for, Cal. Okay, they have, I know Mateer is obviously in the conversation. Songa Politelli might be the best quarterback in the country. He is 18 years old. He's out of Hawaii. He's 6'3", 205. He can move. He has a 3.75 GPA. He went to Oregon, obviously. Well, he committed to Cal. Then he went to Oregon. Then went back to Cal. He's late night must-watch television. He is so good. With their schedule, there's a chance they win the All-Coast Conference as well.
Oh, what happened? What happened to that boy? The Bears were talking so much trash. The Calgorithm, Admiral Bear. I think you got an award for all the fine work that you did, Fiend.
The Op of the Week. Yes.
The Op of the Week.
That's a big honor from Calgorithm. Much respect from those guys.
He was knocked out right there, man. I don't know what happened, but all that talk from McAfee, and I don't really tune into McAfee that much, to be honest with you. Probably, some of you watchers or people who know what we do probably think that we just follow McAfee and we're listening. And I don't really pay attention much to McAfee. I'll be honest with you. Just not something I really tune into. But you caught my attention when you sent that to me.
Yeah, I mean, game day. I mean, he's sending that out to me. There's millions of people who watch that show. That's probably one of the, if not the most popular show, college football show, during the week, and everyone loves it. And he's out there, just basically anointing him as like the new Johnny Manziel, or Wonder Boy, basically. So the fact that we humbled him, man, that was a humbling experience for him, and people are not going to be talking about him like that. I don't think going forward, like he's not going to get the hype.
Well, let's get into it a little bit because this game was all about the defense. I know Fiend's having some Han Solo issues again, but this game was all about the defense, guys. A shutout. You get a shutout in any football game. That's very, very difficult to do. The momentum just snowballed into the second half. I mean, it was only 13-0 at the half, Fiend. But the defense is the story of the game, obviously, with the shutout. And you talked about it, the freshman, welcome to the dark side. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For those of you who know, if you know, you know. I couldn't believe that they shut him down. I figured, in the back of my mind, okay, true freshman, maybe we'll be able to, slow him down, put some wrinkles in there, give him some confusing looks. We're going to get into that because we got a special guest coming in who's going to talk a little bit about the quarterback position specifically. But the story of the game was the defense, right? Second half, you get the fumble recovery, rumbling, stumbling down, get the pick six, Chris Johnson. I think Chris Johnson, did he got some kind of recognition, right?
Yeah, he was the number 1 graded pro football PFF, I think, for like cornerback. Okay. So, I mean, the top rated guy like for the week. And so I might have been at his position, might have been I don't remember. Actually, I think it was for the entire college football. Like he was outstanding.
Okay. And I know, boy, it was quite the turnaround, not just for the team, but also defensive player of the game. Yeah. And that was escaping my mind right now. I want to say Deleson Staley. Yeah. And boy, he struggled against Washington State. So that was really, really, really good to see him bounce back.
It was great. I mean, he punched that ball out, caused the forced fumble. McDougal scooped and scored. And then he came back after the Chris Johnson interception. He got an interception of his own. So what a way, what a bounce back performance. And, the coach had talked about seeing the emotional maturity of this team and how they would bounce back from a loss like that, from those mistakes. Would they correct them? What was going to be their attitude? And Absolutely, man. I mean, there were so many things that were wrong at Washington State that they really looked like they worked on in these last 2 weeks, and they fixed them, at least for the game, you know. I mean, but they fixed those mistakes, and they did a great job. They did a great job preparing. I'm sure that the bye week really was big for them.
You know, we were talking going up into the game, getting ready to go into the tailgate, and hey, we were having real conversation. And I said, look, a lot of it sounded like coach speak. You got to get back to the fundamentals. They're going to go over the different things that, the basics. And, as a fan, you don't want to hear that. Like, man, it's, week 3, going back to the basics already. Even in the game, Coach Lewis called a couple early timeouts, right? And you're kind of scratching your head like, oh, man, why are we burning these timeouts? But now that you look back from a coach's perspective, I think, he was really safeguarding this game. He was really playing it conservative with a lot of his decision making on both sides of the ball, I want to say, and just protecting the moment, seizing the opportunities, but in a conservative way, right? And obviously, I think it paid off. I think there's a parallel there we'll get into in just another point in a couple minutes, but tackling for sure on the defensive side. Those basics, those fundamentals of tackling. Staley had 7 tackles, so he was second on the team behind Owen Chambliss. Owen Chambliss stepping up, Mr. Williams stepping up with Tano out. So the defense, man, I mean, all the way around. Of course, you gotta highlight August Salvati. I believe he had another 2 sacks or so. That's the FAU transfer, right?
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, he's been so productive in the games. First 3 games, he's been so productive. I feel like you really got to think about giving him more snaps just because of how disruptive he's been on that defense. And he's been a real bright spot that I didn't really see coming into the season. And so the pressure that we were able to get on him with Trey White, Salvati, and then, like you said, just mixing up like the coverages. And you're right, Mr. Williams played fantastic. I think Coach did mention that one of the big things about that position is you really need depth. And so that's why they brought him in. And fortunately, he came up big for us. He had a big game. And McDougal had a big game too. You got to give him a shout out. He was in the post-game press conference and loved what he had to say about how disrespected they felt by not being recruited by Cal. A lot of those guys had a chip on their shoulder, and they just didn't like the taste that they had in their mouths after the Washington State game. They wanted to get it out,
Just an all-around dominant performance from start to finish. The guys brought the energy. Offensively, and like I said, we'll get into the quarterback talk in just a few minutes, but offensively, it wasn't, and I'll be a little critical. It wasn't the big numbers. The story of the game was the defense. The two scoop and scores, interception, pick 6. I mean, that changes the whole complexion of the game. And but the offense did enough. They didn't make mistakes. Denegal was efficient, 15 of 18. I'll take that every single time if we're consistently getting 5 yards per carry on the ground as well. It wasn't a game that, they were perfect. I know there's going to be going back to the drawing board on some penalties, just different things that kind of stunted some drives there in that first half, But then, hey, special teams, when you got a kicker like Gabriel Placencia, who's knocked down 16 straight, you don't have to be as aggressive as I think Lewis wanted to. He talked about that in the presser this morning, that, sometimes the analytics tell you one thing, but you got to go with your gut. He's very familiar with that. He says, especially being a Wisconsin guy under Alvarez, back then he was saying it's all gut decisions, not a lot of analytics involved. So I think he played it perfectly offensively. And it was, let's just say it. It was a little bit of a Rocky Long-esque coaching performance, Fiend. You got any thoughts on the offense and Coach Lewis's big night?
Well, I wonder if Rocky said something to him before the game, but we kind of said this coming in that they need to be more Rocky Long. We've been asking for that That's kind of the identity of this defense, with the size of the linemen and the strength of the running back group. And so, you don't really need a guy who's going to sling it all over the field. And, Denegal was very efficient. I would say that was a very Christian Chapman-like.
Good call on the Christian Chapman. Oh boy, you talk about just coming in, doing your job, being efficient, and even Denegal running out of the pocket, on those RPOs. He had a really, really nice run there. It didn't show up on the stat sheet, I think, because, you kind of peg against it with some losses eventually, but you did enough to keep everybody honest. Of course, the deep ball, the big deep ball to Jordan Napier, that changed that first half. It changed the defense. It softened them up. Lewis was detailing that in his presser today as well. But you could just see it. It wasn't a pretty ball. It was a deep ball, but it wasn't a pretty one. It was very underthrown. But when you got somebody like Napier, 9 catches, almost 200 yards or something like that, and he took it all the way down to the 10. And then, tip of the cap to Lewis to give him the little toss sweep or whatever, the little toss. It's considered a catch. Yeah. It's considered a catch. And he ran it in for the end zone. He's so talented after, yards after the catch. So he got his touchdown.
Yeah, he's a playmaker. I mean, we've been saying it, get the ball in his hands. And Denegal's really good with those 50-50 balls along the sideline. Sometimes he airmails them, they go out of bounds. But to his credit, knock on wood, he still hasn't thrown a pick yet through 3 games. So, good for him. I mean, he's being efficient with the ball. And coach said that was it ball security is job security, and so really emphasizing that turnover margin. That's been a big thing. Is in the previous games we have not really forced any turnovers, but we haven't committed, turnovers. But in this game, we absolutely won the turnover margin, and that was a big part of the game, obviously.
I repeat, I got one question for you, Fiend.
How about them Aztecs?
Yeah.
Oh boy! Before we go any further, I want to say a big shout out. Get that bear out of here. Big shout out to Alexa Berry, our student photographer, for this 2 home games. Worst, like I said, we haven't seen an opponent score a point against the Aztecs in 2 home games. So go check that out right now. Our photo gallery is open, sonsofmontezuma.com. You can check out all the cool snaps, a lot of candids, a lot of fan photos, and just a good time. It was just a great time down at the stadium. This was by far the best game in Snapdragon Stadium.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, hands down.
100%. This was like a cathartic.
Oh no, cathartic. Left me on a cliffhanger there. Come back to us, Fiend. Come back to us. Okay, we're talking. He's back. There he goes. Cathartic what?
No, it's just it was a cathartic win. I mean, we have lost so many games in that stadium, right? And to finally come out and put together a dominant performance. I mean, I was yelling at the Cal fans, like, I am tired of losing. I'm sick of losing, when we were just beating the crap out of him. And it had nothing to do with them, per se. It's getting that anger that just, you got to get that out. I mean, it was just, it was such a freeing, just to get that type of win felt so good. Because, man, we've not had a lot to look forward to in the last 3 years since that building opened.
It feels like it. Thank you, Angelica, for the super sticker. Your support is very, very, very appreciated. Of course, Rick Torado, he's saying, okay, well, full house, rocking. How was the crowd? Well, let's give you guys a little sneak peek on our experience, game day experience, before we bring in our special guest. You guys check it out.
That's legit. Let's go, pump free.
So I got to pause it right there, Fiend. Was that not just the best right there? When you see the student section just going crazy off that missed field goal in the first half, that's the sound we've been waiting for. That's exactly what we've been wanting. All those students jam-packed, and they had something to cheer for, man. Packed house. Well, maybe not full packed house, but it was good for me.
Definitely affected them when they got towards our goal, in the danger zone with a couple of penalties, and then they missed a field goal, and that was huge. Like I would say, besides the turnovers, the ability for this defense to step up in the danger zone and not give up a touchdown was huge. And Coach Lewis, in his press conference, he alluded to it, like, we've given up so many of those touchdowns. Like, it seemed like every time they get in the red zone, they'd score on us. So being able to turn that into a field goal attempt or a turnover in the red zone, that was awesome. And yes, the crowd was totally into it. It was so much fun.
Oh, Rick, you're going to have to go to sonsofmontezuma.com. Check out the photo gallery. Oh, let's continue. Just the danger zone. Talk about danger zone, the fourth quarter.
Let's go, Sam!
The danger zone is the south end zone. That's what the danger zone is, too. The shutout, the goose egg.
You know it. You tell a story. You tell the whole damn world this is Aztec territory.
Good singing. Good singing. You even had students getting escorted off the field. It was that type of an environment, guys. It was that kind of a game. Students were going crazy, and I'm glad that they were there. It's a game they're going to remember, Fiend. They're going to remember. They're going to go back and tell everybody who missed it. So, hey.
Yeah. No, I mean, this was a historic win. I mean, have you seen in your time, have you seen a more dominant performance by an Aztec team against, either a power conference team or just a really great team? Can you name one?
Not quite like that. It's been a while. Not quite as dominant like that. I mean, to stop a team from scoring at all. Can't think of one. The
only thing it really comes close to for me, and ironically, I was watching it the night before, was the 2015 when we absolutely stomped. When we stomped Cincinnati. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we were just talking about that with Pierce Slater. You guys check out that last week's interview. Pierce Slater, the member and team captain of that 2015 championship team, and they were in attendance. We'll get into that. We're gonna bring in our special guest. He's chomping at the bit. I know he's a Bay Area guy originally, so I'm sure he's got some insights, some opinions on this Cal Berkeley team. We've made a couple road trips on those road games to see the Aztecs against Cal in our past. He's now in is it the Silver State of Nevada? I don't know, but he's a big Raider guy as well. So we're gonna bring him in. First time this season, bringing in Coach C, of course, the Aztec for life. Coach C, get you in the middle, man. How are you doing? It's good to see you.
I hope you guys can hear me. I don't have my microphone with me and all. Still unpacking boxes and all that other stuff, but we're doing good and celebrating rain and fame. Cathartic. What does that mean, brother? I'm a math guy, football guy. You're using these big words. I don't even know what that even means, bro.
It's cleansing of the soul. Cleansing of the soul.
Nice.
I got my Buckies. My Buckies. I'll cleanse myself with the.
All right. Good word. Good word. I'm gonna use it.
Hey, it felt that way, Coach. Man, it really did. There's been a lot of frustration. Not only and I wouldn't direct anything at the players at all. I mean, I think fans, San Diego fans are smart fans, especially Aztecs fans. I think we get a bad rap when you have an NFL team in your backyard for decades, and then you have the Aztecs football program, which had great years all throughout the 60s, 70s, some exciting teams in the 90s, and then of course the run of Rocky Long, which we celebrated in 2015. That's a lot of football. And that's not even counting high school ball, which is a monster down here. Aztecs fans are smart fans. They know when they're seeing good football and when they're not seeing good football.
Right.
So there's been a lot of frustration. You know, the fans have not shown up. The season ticket numbers are down. A lot of work went into this game. Free tickets to the season ticket holders to give out, discounted tickets, a lot of different, exciting themed theatrics to try and get butts in seats. And it paid off for this game, man. It paid off. I was upset getting through the turnstiles because that was the one thing that they did not have ready. I'll be honest, it was bad trying to get in.
Yeah.
But the team made up for it. They made up. They turned my frown into a smile. I mean, the whole game was just good energy, and it really helps to have a crowd. As a coach, you understand that, those moments when there's not a crowd there, and when you do have one, it really ignites your team.
Oh, no doubt. That you could tell. I could feel it through the TV here in Vegas watching the game. The first thing I even noticed is, wow, this is the loudest I've heard Snapdragon. And I expected a high energy output from the players because they feed off of that. And I want to give a special shout out to the student body that showed up. I don't care how. The fact is that they made a difference, and it felt loud. Like Fiend said earlier, that does affect your opponent, but more than anything, it affects you as a home player. You want to play in front of your fellow classmates, people that you're going to see on Monday in classroom. You want to get that pat on the back. It means the world to these guys. It means the world to the families that are there. It's just more of a high energy type feeling. You want that college atmosphere. It should be loud. It should be ruckus. And then the team did a great job of providing something to actually cheer for. And I thought it was 2021. I mean, this defense right here, are you kidding me? This is beautiful. And I didn't know from the vantage point where I was sitting at here watching on my TV that it was honoring Rocky Long's team there. Was it the 21 team that they were honoring, or I don't know what year, but I heard he was there. 2015.
10 years ago. 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Can you believe it? Donnell Pumphrey
It was great. It was just, and it felt, and I tell you what, when you have a good defense as a coach and your running game is producing, you feel like you're riding a big horse. It's a fun to be a play caller. It's fun on the defensive coordinator possession because he can feel like, hey, right now the guys are flying to the ball. You're probably willing to take a risk here or there on certain pressures, on certain stunts, because even if they move the chains on you, your team is playing with such high energy. You just have this confidence. They're not going to score on us, and credit to the boys, man, giving a goose egg, a shutout. And I did not know, just learning tonight, when you were saying that so far, offers in 2025, no opponent has scored. That is just great, and it's been bugging me that I've been so busy on my move here in Vegas, moving into thing. Can't really keep up. So it was really neat to see the game on Saturday, watching it, feeling the vibe through the TV of the energy that was there, seeing our defense not only get a shutout, you scored 2 touchdowns. You added to the scoreboard, and you did it, by playing smart defense through the air, coverage-wise, and then you were so aggressive with your tackling, it produced a fumble. And you got a guy that thing bounces once, and he's off to the races immediately. And you could just tell that it's like a boulder going downhill, and the whole team feeds off of that. It does contribute to a coach on the offensive play calling in. If he sees his defense rolling that way, you don't want to mess it up. Hey, let's keep things efficient. Let's let this defense prove that you can score against our defense. And if they can't do that, then you definitely don't want to give any freebies. That's for sure, whether it be field position or anything, especially when the quarterback was struggling like he was. You don't want to give him anything simple, where he has a short field to work with. And it was just a overall smart football team or football win. I was really pleased with the red zone play calling by coach. You know what I mean? I mean, you're not good in there getting field goals. It was just good misdirection stuff, up the middle stuff. It was just good. You're finishing off in the end zone. And defenses love that. Love that when you're scoring 7s and then they're flying on the other end. And that really is the beginning that you need for a coach where the team really starts gelling. These kind of wins are important. And the unfortunate thing, if there's anything unfortunate to say about this last win, is now there's an expectation that's set, and I mean, not just from the players in the football program. Hey, student body, we need you back. All those fans that showed up, this team needs you. We need to get back to our winning ways. And boy, if we can start packing that stadium and get some more energy wins, develop a tradition that no one scores on our house except for us, you need something that you can build off of, because that's going to help with recruiting later. This is a fun place to play at. The energy's there. The student body's going to be behind you 100%, and then the athletic program is recognizing, what, let's get these kids here at the game. If it's going to cost us a little bit on the profit margin end, so what? Let's get some W's in here. Let's get something going, and businesses and people will show up. That's more important, getting people in those seats for our players, for the program, and for their experience as a student body too. There's nothing better than spending your Saturday night with your friends, high-fiving each other all night because your football team is rolling.
You got anything on that, Fiend, before I blast off?
No, I mean, I absolutely, love what he said. And just the magnitude of this victory, Coach Lewis really needed this win. He needed a signature win. Rocky Long had gotten, his, Brady Hoke had gotten his, and, Sean Lewis hadn't had his yet. Right. And so this was a program defining win in Snapdragon Stadium. And they brought up a statistic during the press conference that this was like the biggest power win against like a power conference team in like 50 years. That's amazing. I mean, you're talking this, it's historic, that performance that they put down on Saturday night.
Hey, I'm right up in there with you guys. I'm loving it. We were there. We were celebrating. And I do agree it was a big win. It's a springboard win. Or I should say it should be or could be, right? It's still only just one game. I want to see what obviously they do this week coming up against Northern Illinois. I want to see what the administration does moving forward, because it's Cal. I get it. They're in the ACC now, which doesn't make any sense. There was a lot of energy. There was a lot of hype coming into it. I want to see that same hard work and hustle, that same determination in the marketing and in the promotion, the same open door policy, letting the students come in more amounts than usual. I want to see that. I want to see that week in and week out until you get a consistent base coming in, because it's not the students' fault, to be honest with you. They show up when they're, granted the tickets. It's the alumni's fault. It's the fans, in San Diego. But like I said, we're smart fans. When we see a good product, they'll show up. So hopefully it is that springboard in more ways than one.
Yeah, and it's more important for the program itself, the coaches. You got to understand, we got to stack these victories. I don't care who it is against. You got to stack wins. And even if you're facing a team that maybe has got a little bit more talent than you got to stack at least good performances. Sometimes games like this, and this is one thing I've had to warn teams that I've coached before, when we had a kind of a similar type where it just seemed like, boy, the ball's bouncing our way. They really can't do nothing right. And there's just this avalanche of just good vibe after good vibe after good vibe. And sometimes, it feels like that's going to go on forever. And, it's like, hold on now. We got some breaks to go our way. We forced them, played good football. But you got to also prove that you can win the game when you don't get any turnovers, that you can go ahead and have that 8-minute drive, have that balanced attack on the offense. Yeah, you scored 34 points. Defense got 14 of those 34, offense and all that. Every coach is going to find something to coach the guys at. Hey, we got to improve in these areas. And the next challenge is going to be, hey, offense, let's see if we can produce more points in this next one. Be even, develop some consistency. I think they have the quarterback for that. Denego, I like a lot of things about his game. He's got great footwork for a quarterback. He's tall, so his vision is there. Great arm. He's got a quick trigger. And although the pass that you spoke of earlier to Napier, it was a great read on his part, because, he's reading the safety going over, And it's a play that I call 599, where that outside guy's running a comeback route, and it's an inside slot seam. And then, of course, the diagonal route by the number 3 receiver inside. And it's really a decent read by the quarterback. That safety, the single high safety, goes with that diagonal, that seam, boy, you want to rip that thing. And Danigo might say, man, I probably should have pulled the trigger a little bit sooner than when I did, but he read it off. He looked that safety off, gave Napier a chance. Napier just came up with an amazing catch, and I'm sure his boy's going to rib him for getting caught. But that's all right. He put us inside the 2-yard line. And then he scored anyways with a great design, reverse counter type play by coach, or nice misdirection. And it just made the play look really easy. And those are the kind of things that coaches feel good. Man, that was the right play call. Quarterbacks and offense feel good. O-line feels good. We gave our quarterback the time to maybe split second later than what he wanted to, but he still had a big, nice pocket. And those are the things that you want to say, hey, we got a quarterback here. If we give him a consistent pocket, he can dice some secondaries up, with the quick game, or even with the 5-step and read game, if you will. And that's what I want to see from a coach's point of view, just that really good balanced attack. But it's got to start with the ground game now. We talk about the Rocky days, and what was going on, and we always think defense. But, boy, we had a nice running game that we knew that was our bread and butter. You got to have an identity. You got to have an identity every week, and that's something that coach is going to have to make sure that he establishes every day. Okay, we got this win, but let's remind ourselves this is what we are. This is how we're going to win, playing aggressive defense, giving the fans something to cheer about. And it doesn't have to be a fancy play. It's just like you said, Matt, good football play. Because smart fans recognize good football when they see it. And a 5-yard run up the middle with great blocking, sometimes to that smart fan, they know what they're seeing. That's good football. They loaded box and you're still getting 5, and then they start thinking, boy, they're setting up some nice play action situations here. And Denegel's the type of quarterback, because of his size, his athleticism, he's the kind of quarterback that can hurt defenses with his legs when he needs to. And that's what I want to see from an offense, that just these long sustained drives. Yet, yes, you want the quick hitters, but boy, if we can get on the field and say, well, we're going to win the time of possession because of our balanced attack, and we got the quarterback that when you do cover everybody, he still has the ability to move the chains and score for us, with his natural talent. But I like what I see for sure, what they at least can build with.
The third down percentage wasn't the greatest, but I think overall I like what you're saying as far as just being conservative when you got the defense rolling as well. And I agree with everything with Denegal, man. I'm really excited for the potential, and knowing that he's got another year eligibility to work under Sean Lewis and really get the reps. So you always hear them talking about it. You just need time on task, getting the reps, getting the timing down with all the receivers and all that. I just feel like the big difference between Washington State and this game, obviously being at home, is a big deal. But, being able to, I guess not. I mean, you want to say reps, the experience, right? But also just, I think having more of a clear focus and game plan. Of course, when the defense just hands you, so many points and all that good stuff. But right from the get-go, I think the offense really, it was a little more focused and dialed in on that conservative, grinded out game, which I appreciate after so many years of Aztec football as we've always known it. So,
yeah, and there's really nothing wrong with that. It's just that the question with that, if you're going to come with a very conservative approach because you feel like you do have the defense, and the nice thing about defense and run game, that travels. It doesn't matter where you go. That kind of thing travels. Whether it be good weather, bad weather. And so you want to continue to build on that. But if you're going to be conservative and you think that's the thing that you want to go forward, all that, well, you still got to have some pop to your offense, obviously. You got to be able. And so it's really about, here's our best runs. These are our best play actions off of these runs. This is what Denegal does best. These are our favorite 3-step quick game. These are his favorite, types of plays. And then it's up to the coach to kind of give those plays different looks so that defense are always kept off of balance. And then you start mixing that up. where, hey, on 1st and 10, we're not running the ball. We're throwing his favorite quick pass out of that, his favorite comeback throw, where it's going to be a 3-step drop out of gun out of that. But these are his favorites, but you're giving it in a look that gives the defense the impression this is their favorite run formation, and you're throwing out of that, or your play action off of that, but especially keeping things off. And that's where the coaches have to come into play. Okay, we're going to give you the plays that you love. You got to execute them now. I'm counting on you. And then on 3rd downs, be a little bit unpredictable. That's why I love that first touchdown with that misdirection counter. A misdirection on 1st and 10, and you're pulling the guard and the tackle, giving it to a wideout. That was beautiful. And it just looked easy. Everybody was leveraged nicely. And those are the things that players, when they see things like that, wow, coach, great design. You know what I mean? And you start building the confidence, and you really put that wideout in a great position to have big bodies in front of him where he can make a choice. And he had 2 running lanes to score on there, and it made it look easy. And that really affects defenses too. By the way, they made that look easy. And with Denegal, that's the thing I'm hoping to see, is that this kid looks like he has a talent where he can start getting into rhythm, and you want your quarterback confident going on 3rd downs, that he's not sweating all on 3rd and 7s, or whatever else, and 3rd and 7 plus is what we call it, that those things are easy. You want your quarterback coming to the sideline after a timeout where he's telling the coach, I want this play. I'm seeing this coverage. You want that from your players. And that's how you start taking the offense, if you will, to the next step, and that's the thing that I'm hoping we start seeing as the season progresses. Because those things, like I said, you get on the road and you're playing a defense that is, well coached as far as their discipline and all that stuff. Well, I don't care how disciplined you are. If you got a balanced attack and you can beat them in different ways, that goes a long way. You can't be one-dimensional.
Love what I'm hearing on the offensive side. Really quickly, from what you saw of Cal, because that was one of the big things I wanted to ask you about. Obviously their quarterback, true freshman, came in very hyped. Their offense, they weren't putting the biggest numbers, like against Minnesota. They beat them, but it wasn't like they just throttled them. But that was a solid Big Ten team that they took down. So where I like what Rick says in the chat. Where did Cal go wrong? What did the Aztecs do to totally switch up the way that their season was going? Because they were really feeling good at 3-0. Now they got to be looking at themselves like, where do we go from here?
Yeah, I mean, coaches did a great job of just putting a blueprint out there of forcing the young quarterback. And I'm not going to even dare try to say his name, but boy, does he have a good strong arm. And, good-looking arm, good-looking size of a kid, true freshman. And you could see he just really has a whip, in there. Certain things that I noticed, it's like, yeah, he's got to work on his footwork a little bit. He was kind of, what San Diego State did was they were playing this cover 4 coverage, matchup zone and some other things, but they were really doing a nice job of keeping the secondary's eyes on where the quarterback's eyes were located at. Where is his eyes going? And I felt that the quarterback, a lot of times, he was trying to look off safeties, but he really wasn't looking at coverage. He was just looking at his own guys, his routes. And then right away, he just felt, as a young quarterback sometimes does, okay, I've looked the safety off. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger, and not really realizing, what the coverage even looks like on the route that he's thrown it to. And what the defensive coordinator did really nice for San Diego State is, hey, let's keep our eyes on the ball. Don't worry so much about the routes that are taking place. Let's just go ahead and keep the routes in front of us. Let's see where that ball's going, and then we'll break on the ball. And so you saw some really easy interceptions that, like, how in the world is the quarterback even throwing that, where our guys looked like they were running the routes for the receivers. And but when you're in a matchup zone like that, or at least you're playing a soft zone, and you can see right away, that ball he's about to pull the trigger. And even though it was a quick trigger, you kind of sense his rhythm that he was trying to get, what he's used to. And film will show that now for a young quarterback. He likes to do this and then immediately pull the trigger here, and he stands tall in the pocket. And San Diego State did a great job of scouting his habits, what he likes, giving him a look. The last interception, where that deep over, where the safety just kind of peeled across it. Such a beautiful play by the defense. And you're right, it's going to affect that young man's confidence to a point of, they're going in probably expecting that the score would be 34-0, but they were expecting it to be on their end. And when those kind of things happen and you're playing the psychic game and all that other stuff, it's hard for a kid. He's going to be okay. Again, though, there's some things that no doubt they got to iron out of his game. His footwork a little bit kind of stiff, but he's got a strong arm, and his bounce back game is going to be really big and all. So we'll see. It was a great win, but you could tell the defense really had the right game plan to force him to have to go to his third read. And he wasn't doing that. He's making one read, and then he's already decided in the back of his mind, this is where I'm going to throw the ball. And the Aztecs were ready for it. They were ready for it. They had a guy there, and they were making a play on the ball before the wideout even had a chance to even turn into a DB himself, because we're snatching the ball away. And it was fun. It was fun to watch. And you like to see that from a coach's point of view that, these are not lucky turnovers. That's good football right there is what that is. You ran the route for the wideout. That's good film work on your part. That's good scouting by the coaches and preparing the kids. And again, that's how you build culture. Coach Lewis wants to build culture. First thing about culture is trust, but trust in who? In your coaching staff. When those players know our coaches are going to put us in a position to be in the right spots, and we're going to have a shot now to do and make a play because the coach is going to put me in the right spot. You build on that. That's what you stack. Everything else then starts becoming an automatic. W's, first downs, moving chains, road wins, bad weather wins, that because the coaches are going to do their part to put you in the position to win. And then the celebrations in the end zones by defense and offense are a whole lot of fun now, and the kids will get the credit. The kids will get the credit.
All right. Thank you, T-Mac, for the super. He says, I was so glad to be wrong about the Cal game. We all were. We definitely all were. I am proud of the team and coaching staff for such a big improvement. Oh, man. Thank you, T-Mac, again. Yeah, Coach, that's like you hit it right there. The players made big plays. I mean, it's not a fluky thing. We all know that this defense came back with a purpose. And so to go with what T-Mac's saying, 2 weeks ago, they weren't living up to that purpose, right? The game didn't roll and reflect that purpose of what they came back for. So to see them have the game plan, execute it with energy, with enthusiasm, and doing it together on all sides of the ball. I mean, it was a special game for sure. For sure.
College football is about enthusiasm. That's bottom line. It's everything about the product of college football. It's about the bands. It's about the chants. It's about the fight songs and all that, the rivalries. And you got to have energy. You have to have enthusiasm. And the winning, of course, is absolutely important. But that's why big rivalries between two teams, and they can be 6-6 going into that. And you know what? You got the alumni there. The fight song is going. There's nothing better than waking up on a Saturday morning and turning on your TV and you see that early morning game and you hear the fight song going on, and it makes you salivate. It makes you fall in love with the game of football. And you got to generate that. Now, there's nothing better than being a part of a bowl game. But the thing is that you start investing on that kind of experience right now. And it's going to be interesting to see how the coaching staff and how the players really decide, how are we going to build on this thing? And you got to have that confidence going into this game. Northern Illinois, here we go. This is a big game here, but all of them are big game. But are we going to be consistent and sticking with one another and playing as a unit? I want to see that, because that was a lot of fun, just hearing the crowd like it was a real college football game in a way, and the players providing the crowd with just such exuberance. It's like, man, that brought me back to my day there at Qualcomm on those big games when we played USC. You know what I mean? UCLA's coming in, and boy, the fans are ready for a fight. They want to do whatever it takes.
Oh, I saw a couple.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a couple in the stands for sure.
They want to battle. They want to battle. And I don't mean in a physical way. It's just that this is important to them. It is important. And it's like, that's what we want. We want our students, our players to say, this is important, to fill that stadium, and it's on us to get it done. and everything else will take care of itself, but I'm excited. This was a great win. And Fink said it, you know what, when you got big wins like this, arguably the biggest, no doubt the biggest for Coach Lewis and all that, I'm excited for him. I mean, it's hard, guys. Coaching is hard. It's a lot of work. You're away from your family. The media will beat you up over every little thing. It's just really tough, and you got to have some thick skin. And but when you win, and coaches know it's temporary now. It's like, all right, I don't have to deal with the arrows this week, whatever else. But how do you develop that consistency? It's gonna be fun to see him really. What he comes up with this week. And I'm hoping the best for him. We want to see the Aztecs do everything to get another victory for sure.
I don't think he would be doing anything else. He don't want to be doing anything else. Coach, thank you for all your insight, your input. I've already seen in the chat people want to see your film breakdowns of the game again. I know you're super busy, so I'm extending grace. I was there last season, man. I had a lot going on last season. It was a struggle, so I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, I'm in boxes. I'm still painting walls, putting floors down, and it's just like I miss doing all that stuff. I was like, man, I miss breaking down film and studying film and all that. So, but I wanted to come on in this one. I said, boy, to be a part of a big win, to do the follow up on that. Fiend is absolutely right, man. And I told my buddy here, I said, man, I haven't even been to a game of Snapdragon yet. And, I want to get out there so bad. And watching the crowd looking like they were having a blast. I said, man, I got to be there. And I can't wait to be there soon. But, hey, go Aztecs. Go Sons of Montezuma and all that stuff. Keep it up. And love our boys for sure. Keep it up, Coach Lewis. Keep them going.
All right, man. Well, thank you, dude. Go back to doing what you're doing, and we'll get you back on one of these days.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
all
Coach.
Right,
good seeing you again.
Take care. All right, bud.
All right.
All right. There you guys have it. Good to have him back on, man. I could just listen to him talk ball and learn so much.
Learned so much from him, yeah. And I thought one of the let me use a big word here, a poignant comment that he had, was the fact that he's never been to Snapdragon Stadium. Now he wants to go, right? You hope that feeling is multiplied by thousands, right? Yeah. Of people who have not gotten a Snapdragon or who've kind of dropped off, hopefully this brings them back into the mix, re-energizes them, gets them excited, for their alma mater, and to get back there and cheer on the Aztecs, because man, that's one of the best wins. I mean, that's up there with Stanford, win in 2017. Just that feeling and the crowd and everything. That was a very special win that we saw on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, some people in the chat saying, the students got to get more involved in the cheering and the chants and all that good stuff, and that's going to come with time in a new building, right? But I think from the get-go, things were, it felt uncomfortable. I think obviously if you're not winning, it's tough to build up that atmosphere, that energy. But for one game, it felt like we were all in on it together. You knew the administration was trying to get butts in seats. They were doing whatever they had to do to get people in there. And that's the approach you got to have. That's the energy mentality you got to have. It can't be too commercialized sometimes, right? You got to make that investment. And the biggest investment is in people. Just get them there, make them a part of it. Open the door, let them in. I digress. We got to turn the page on this game, man. We got to turn the page on this game. It's over. It is over. We'll look back on this game, hopefully with a good memory at the end of the season. But it's Northern Illinois week. Before we get into that, guys, I want to make sure you guys are checking out the Danger Zone t-shirts. I know we're running a little long in this episode, guys, but the Danger Zone t-shirts are up for scale right now. sonsofmontezuma.com. You get your own. We got a black one and a white one. We were sporting them there at the game, and of course we got the beer that was going. That was a very limited time thing. So get your t-shirt, sonsofmontezuma.com. Of course, the online shop is always open. Fiend, we are making the trip to Chicagoland. You said don't call it Chi-Town because that's not what the locals call it. That's not what they call it. But I always call it Chi-Town. It's all good. Really excited about this next game, Saturday. Northern Illinois. The game is, I want to say, at 12:30 p.m. Of course, I don't think that is that's Central Time, right?
Central Time. It would be 9:30 here, I guess. No, 10:30, right? If it's 12:30
okay.
there.
DeKalb, Illinois, Husky Stadium, Northern Illinois, the Huskies, a team that the Aztecs are familiar with. We've played them a couple times the last couple decades. So always have won. Always have won. We have yet to lose. Of course, the Aztecs are dominant against MAC competition until last year against Central Michigan. This is a familiar game for Coach Lewis. Familiar territory. He's going back home, and so are you, Fiend. The floor is yours. What do you got to say on this game?
Right. So I did miss. I misspoke on the time. 12:30 Pacific time and 2:30 Central time. So people don't have to get right out of bed and turn on the game on Saturday. So this is special for me. I, being a San Diego State grad, my dad being a Northern Illinois grad, and we're gonna meet up there and gonna see some family and friends, and probably have a wager or two on the game. And so it's going to be really exciting for us as a family, and I'm excited to get back because I don't get back to Chicago very often.
You got to give me some food recommendations because I haven't been there in a little while, but I'm excited for this game. I'm actually excited to go out to DeKalb, which is right away from Chicago, but the whole environment, the whole trip. NIU is a tough program. They've given us a challenge every time we've played them. But this game, I think, it's an interesting game because NIU, while their record doesn't really reflect, I think, the caliber of a program that they are, they're coming off of a really tough loss. Who was it? Who did they lose to? Mississippi State?
Mississippi State, yeah.
Wasn't the greatest performance. But that's an SEC team, man. You're playing on the road. Of course, they lost the week before that to Maryland. And their
They
only
played those
win.
games well, though.
Yeah, it's respectable. You're going to look at the scoreboard and you're not going to be impressed.
It was close into the third quarter against Mississippi State. So that's impressive going on the road and that heat in the South.
Yeah.
And then, they played fairly well against Maryland, too. Maryland's a pretty good team from the Big Ten. They beat up on Wisconsin and Danny O'Neal, this last weekend. So, they've got a pretty solid program. Obviously, they squeaked by Holy Cross in their first game, but their quarterback also got injured in that game. He wound up coming back. First game, you just never know, but they're talented. There's a reason why the spread, I think, is only like 2 points in our favor against them. So they're tough to beat at home. And NIU, the DNA of their program is very similar to SDSU. They're tough, especially in the trenches. They're strong. They're physical. They tackle. They got some speed on the outside, and they just want to kind of run it down your throat, kind of like we've been used to seeing at San Diego State. So, and that coach is he's a good coach. He's very, the players coach. They love playing for him. And, hey, they beat the Irish last year?
They sure did. Sure did.
At South Bend. So, that's a team that can pull some big upsets, and it's not going to be an easy task for us at all. And you just hope there's not a hangover from last week, because we played unbelievable, last week. But I feel, honestly, if I look at it, we can't expect that type of performance, because it was, I'm not going to say it was flawless, but it was close, and everything broke our way, with turnovers and all that stuff. So where, as with Washington State, it was kind of the opposite, right? And so I feel like our baseline is somewhere in between there.
Well, that's what you would like to think, right? And that was the question we were kind of asking ourselves after seeing Washington State get absolutely crushed. Was like, okay, well, how good does that make us? How
Right.
bad does that make us? And then we come out and absolutely put on a performance for the ages. NIU is not like a big time passing team, but when you look at the stats and the comparables, it's so tough because, like you're saying, they're battle tested. They've played high caliber teams, so you can't really go off of stats at this point. It's still too early to really read into any of those things. You could say, okay, they're not a great passing team, they're not a dominant running team, but look who they've been playing. So they're desperate. They got to get an out of conference victory at some point. They've stacked their schedule so tough that they're going to be playing with a really big opportunity to take us down. And boy, Lewis is going to have friends, family in attendance. This is a homecoming for him. So he wants this game as well. They've got to be prepared. They've got to have a similar game plan. Whatever it is, you got to have a game plan that you're going to be focused on together. Everybody's got to be on the same page. Traveling is tough, dude. I don't care who you are, what team you are. You cut your week short to go back, thousands of miles east, and you just hope that they get that chip off their shoulder, get that first road victory of this season, because that's going to be the mark of taking that next step. Can you win on the road in a game that, hey, when I mark down the toughest games of this season, this was one of those games. It could go either way. It really could go either way. So, we've got our work cut out for us.
Sure, certainly, they're going to have the home crowd advantage, and they play well, in DeKalb. So, and after such a great win, to follow it up, that's the challenge. That is the challenge right there. And we will not catch NIU sleeping at all. Like, I'm sure that woke them up when they saw the score against Cal. And so they'll be ready to play for sure.
We didn't talk about it earlier, but T-Mac says, I think Rocky Long's aura helped us against Cal. And, I think there is a lot to that, with all the effort that was made to bring butts in seats. They brought the 2015 team in. That was a championship team. You're playing in front of Rocky. You're playing in front of the sons of Montezuma, your brothers that won championships. So everything was on 10. Now you're on the road. Defense travels. If you got a good defense, your defense travels, right? That's the saying, as the saying goes. And I believe this one will. But this is the big call. This is the big call to this game. How are they going to respond on the road? Can they bring that standard? I saw somebody on Facebook say, boy, this is a new standard. This is not a new standard. Maybe for Sean Lewis's tenure, this is something, a new standard set for that. But the overall picture, the standard has been set, and they played in front of the standard bearers last week in that 2015 championship team. So that's the standard. That type of championship energy and performance, they've got to dedicate themselves to doing that. I think they will, Fiend, but I've been proven wrong before when I was overconfident. So I'm still coming in with a little bit of humbleness. It's one game. I want to see this thing grow and flourish into consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. This, we get another win here. This helps us toward getting to our first bowl game under Sean Lewis. It doesn't have any bearing on conference implications, but we want to get this win let's go streaking, man. Let's stack some wins, let's go streaking on the road and get some good vibes going into the Colorado State game, which Colorado State's going to catch us on a short week because it's on a Friday.
Yeah, that's you don't want to ever look too far ahead, but I don't think that you'll be guilty of looking at Colorado State, because you're right. You travel, you come back, and you got that short week on Friday. So it's not going to be easy. This season is definitely not a cupcake season. People look at the Mountain West schedule and thinking, oh, the Mountain West is down. I beg to differ. I think Fresno has elevated their game. They just beat Hawaii on the road, very back and forth game. Hawaii has stepped up their game somewhat. San Jose's still tough. They're very well coached. Colorado State, that was my sleeper pick for the year in the Mountain West. So they're going to be bringing in a higher quality than I think we're used to seeing with Colorado State. So a lot of different things at play. We're just getting started, man. We're just getting started. I just want to see that physicality, though. P said it. You knew you were playing the Aztecs when you played them. It didn't matter if we were the fastest, the most talented. You just got to feel that you're playing the Aztecs.
And this NIU team, like I said, they mirrored San Diego State. They're physical. And so you got to match that physicality going on the road against them.
I want to see a ground and pound game, to be honest with you, man. I know Denver's got the arm, and I think we will be able to pass on them, but I want to see a game to where we actually establish the run, hit them in the mouth, run them over with a big offensive line like what I'm seeing here. You got to impose your will on the road, and it's a memory of that team that we do have when Pumphrey and the boys went down there and absolutely steamrolled in the run game. So defense and run game, got to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And
I see there's NIU fans in the chat. Jesse on fire. Hey, we welcome it. It's all good. Fans for fans, we're looking forward to it. I think Fiend froze up a little bit, but we're going to be out there for sure. Looking forward to this game, the Mid-American Conference opponent. Now you guys are coming to the Mountain West, so you guys get a little taste of some of that action. Well, you're back, Fiend. You're back.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. I got to get a new router or something, or throw this computer away. No, I was just saying. No, I mean, I don't know if you heard me, but Mississippi State 49 rushes for 292 yards, 4 touchdowns. 49 rushes. They only threw it 20 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is telling.
Yeah.
Can it be replicated?
I honestly, I don't think Lewis will. I mean, I think he wants to be more balanced, and that's just the way he's just trying to get these guys, to play to, that level where they're really balanced. And another thing I just want to bring up, I thought that they did really well in this last game, much better than against Washington State, was the blocking on the perimeter by the wide receivers. When they got those quick screens out there, I thought that the wide receivers did a much better job of getting out and, getting onto their blocks and holding their blocks. And that is huge in this offense because Lewis wants to spread you out all over the field, and that's a part of the game, not only up the middle, but sideline to sideline, and then down the field. And so that's just going to be a big part of his offense, I think. And so when you make those passes, the guys in front, the receivers, they have to hit their blocks to give the guys behind them a chance to get some yardage. And so good job on the receivers. I thought they did a lot better job in this game against Cal.
It makes a difference. That physicality. Oh, man, we got a tight one. Padres and the Brewers going down right now. 9th inning, all tied up. The magic number is 1. I will be at the Cubs game on Friday in Chicago. Looking forward to that and everything that this trip has to offer. Of course, hoping to bring back a big fat dub along with, some spicy meatballs and some spaghetti or something, some pastas, man.
Get some Italian beef. So you got to hit up Portillo's. Italian beef or hot dogs. Lou Malnati's for pizza, or let's see. Well, there's a ton of great pizza joints, in.
Okay. Now, where can I get a Chicago dog though? Because you guys know me, man. I'm all about the hot dogs. And Chicago dog is my favorite. When Fiend de-scrambles himself again, we'll figure out where that's at.
So Portillo's is definitely a great hot dog place, but the Wiener Circle downtown.
Yeah, been there.
That up. Yeah.
So I survived it. That's a late night stop. That's like when you want to see some craziness going on.
Great Greek food in Chicago. Greek town's awesome. There's so much good Greek food in Chicago. So.
All right. Wrigley Field, a lot of good stuff around Wrigleyville, of course. Of course. So any Aztecs fans making the trip, definitely connect with us, see what's going on for the weekend festivities. Looking forward to that. Oh boy. Well, are we ready, Fiend? We're not quite ready. We still got a couple more days. Hopefully you guys tune in tomorrow evening. We're going to have our EA College Football 26 simulation with the Aztec gamers. Sean and John will be simulating the game, the computer against the computer. So we'll figure out, what does the computer say? Actually, last week they had us beating Cal. If for those of you who checked it out, we actually beat Cal in the simulation and also had a scoop and score for a touchdown. So go figure. The simulation was on point for the most part. We didn't shut them out, but I think it went into overtime or something like that, right? So definitely check that out tomorrow night. Aztec Gamers here on Sons of Montezuma's YouTube channel. They're a lot of fun. The guys, they talk a lot more trash than we do. I'll tell you that, man. These guys. Oh man, I'm not even gonna jump in. Not even gonna jump in. Hey, bring it. Let's activate the hit squad on X and Twitter, because we got some more trash talk to get into this week. All right, Fiend. All right. I see you. Descramble. Oh, thank you guys for joining the stream. Always a lot of fun. We'll make sure we might do another episode the closer we get to the game, because we'll be out there, and I know Dan and James, my original co-hosts, will be there as well, along with Fiend. So we'll all be down there in Illinois making this thing happen. Oh boy, I think he's gone. Fiend, come back to us. Fiend,
came back, man. I'm done.
Oh, hey, trash talking. That's it's all part of the game. It's all fun. It's all fun and games until somebody's mascot gets reported by Mr. Henson on To Catch a Predator. What happened to Oski, bro? What happened to Oski? Like literally the algorithm, they just faded away after those first couple videos, and Oski being detained. They couldn't stand a chance.
No, we owned him.
All right, everybody, have a great night. We'll see you guys in just a few days. Northern Illinois Aztecs. Let's get them. Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
How about them Aztecs?
Yeah.